Hello and welcome to July. My name is Faye and I'm from Your Heart's Path, and I'm here to deliver a collective energy reading for the month of July for the year 2022. This is a channeling session. I'll be using my clairvoyance for pictures, images, sensations, feeling and knowing inside of my body to be able to translate the energy in which I'm picking up on for the next 4 weeks. My intention for this is really to offer you a means of guidance, to create awareness around some of the more challenging pieces, how we can potentially work through those, and really just as as a basis of support for you to really empower you in your spiritual journey. So we love to have a look at the mental, emotional, physical, energetic perspectives. These will sort of weave in together, and we'll travel across a handful of different themes that I feel really are going to be loud this month, and how basically you can best utilize these and work with them to remain as balanced as possible. When I say balanced as possible, we're going to start and move straight in, as I feel like we're really going to need some serious lion strength this month in regards to the emotional body. So emotionally, it's sort of really kicked off. We felt that with the new moon in Cancer. Emotionally, things are feeling quite intense in a way that they are coming up from places on a very personal level. So this is less this month about you and the community, you and the collective, you in regards to social life, but it's a very, I want to say, selfish month, which is actually a really beautiful thing when approached from a heart-centered place and a level of understanding. To really work on the internals of your inner being and to build a stronger relationship with yourself and your inner world. So there's going to be a transcendence of darkness. There is going to be a coming to light of some of those places or the depths of your being that are ready to come into consciousness, so that you can move forward in a more authentic way, but with a more of you on board, a more confident version of yourself that is not about perfection, but really actually feels a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more seen, a little bit more exposed. And the challenges of that are where we've moved into already. And I'm going to start this because I feel like it is a theme that we're going to be traveling through, specifically more for the first 2 weeks of July. And this really stems around our own inner insecurities. And when I say our insecurities, those things that make us feel self-conscious, our things that we keep tucked away, those things that we keep hidden in our inner world. These can be addictive patterns, these can be our reactions to our emotions, these can be our sabotage pieces, these can be just those parts of us that we don't really fully understand yet, or that we're not 100% comfortable with, those pieces that are still dancing around in the shadows that we haven't been prepared to fully integrate and have a look at. And I really want to bring some humanness to this, and that the beautiful challenge of this is really, this month there's such an opportunity to transcend some of these really limiting, I want to say like limiting beliefs, limiting judgments, and limiting expectations that are maybe somewhat true, but also don't need to grab a hold of you. They don't need to grab you by the hands and by the feet and prevent you from showing up in your world for you first and foremost. So it's sort of, because we're in this Cancer season, there's a lot about it's a very inward nurturing time. The emotional body is going to be the loudest sense. So this is very deeply connected to our claircognizance and our clairsentience. It pulls us into our inner being, because some of these emotions are things that it's sort of like inevitable that we're going to feel them this month. And it's the way that Spirit showed them to me as like waves. So it's not a big turmoil, washing machine like water. It really is the allowing for the emotions to arise as they want to, versus going in and kind of digging into the bottoms of the ocean. I sort of feel like there's a stillness in the allowing of this piece, and how you can best take care of yourself well. What feels like memories from the past, old experiences, new lenses, or a different way of approaching the emotional discomfort to give you a higher perspective as perhaps the reason why this is not going to serve you moving forward, why it's ready to be integrated, why and how you can let go of this piece. And the best way that I can explain this is some of those really small little pieces, or the insecurities that add up that prevent you from standing in your power. And so these are things that can feel more private. These can be it's that relationship that we have with ourselves where the self-doubt arises, where the self-esteem wants some attention and some love and some nurturing. And then it's also some of those places that have been really deeply buried. And I want to say like the emotions of deep vulnerability, exposure, and grief are the three that they're really bringing to the light here. Unaddressed, they manifest as like frustration, irritation, and very reactive to our external world. So we're being pulled to go to the internal so as that we are less reactive to what's going on inside of our environment, but so as that a deeper leveling of healing can occur as well. The approach to this that Spirit are really bringing through is like serious nurture. This is like food, it's touch, it's sound, it's being your own mother, as in coaching yourself through this experience or guiding yourself through this experience with the uttermost sensitivity, because there are places that we will be initiated through over the next couple of weeks that can feel very overwhelming. And Spirit don't want you to go into overwhelm. They don't want you to go into a place where you feel like the world is too much, or how am I going to handle this? As why has another layer come up? Or why do I still have doubt in this area? I've done so much work here. Or, why me? It's this kind of an energy. And they really want for you to approach this from like observation mode. When the emotion comes up, it's not about vacating the vehicle and taking your consciousness to the future or trying to escape into the cosmos. It's really about staying inside of the earth body, inside of your being that is here to facilitate the transformation and change from within. And it's so crucial to stay inside of the body and know that whatever it is that arises through each of these waves, you are here to experience in the next couple of weeks, and the rewards will come through. The reward is a deeper sense of power within yourself, and we will have a look at how to activate that at the end of this segment. But to go into this where you kind of start to create not only a sanctuary inside of your body, but within your home space. And that means that you're really conscious about who you allow into your intimate space, but to set up a place that feels really nurturing and kind and loving towards yourself. So if emotionally you're feeling these experiences of grief and overwhelm, or it's just like, whoa, this is really a lot, I was done with this part, how can you best support yourself? And this can be the most beautiful and gentle pieces, like lighting candles in your bedroom, taking hot baths, eating warm food, good food, resting, sleeping, and talking to yourself in the way that you would if you were your own mother. And staying inside of the body, staying committed to this emotional journey. It's not about tipping yourself upside down and shaking all these emotions out of your body. It's not penetrative and swimming to the depths of the ocean to kind of dig out old treasure boxes and find out the whys. It's really this allowing. So there is such deep reward for the receptivity of your emotional body and what it's trying to communicate with you. And what I see happening with this is that we get different lenses and different information or data come up from within to really help close some of these pieces for good. And when I say close some of these pieces, these emotions aren't then things that manifest out into the world as reactory patterns that continue cycles that are no longer here and aligned for you. So we want the best for you. We are always going to go through periods of transformation and change, but ultimately at the moment, these are taking us into the depths of our sensitivity. So what is it that prevents you from listening to your intuition? What is it that prevents you from taking care of yourself first and foremost? And when we look at this from more of a selfish perspective, this is not about even approaching this from the lens of what I do for me is better for humankind and mankind. It's not about what you do for yourself is then going to benefit your community. It's almost like remove everybody else away from your psyche for the moment and have that conversation with yourself. Really deeply, truly, what is it that you need and what is it that you desire? Because first, the energy is here to really go deeply inside of you, but it's also that the ripple effect, the ocean or the ripple in the pond, if you pop a stone in there, the ripple effect of what happens from you taking care of yourself first and foremost in this experience is that it will ripple out into the rest of the earth. So pulling back from I want to say like commitments, experiences where you're around lots of big crowds, lots of people is going to be beneficial. It's a very internal month to really sit with the self and to go as gently, as slowly as possible. This is not penetrative energy. This is not digging to the depths energy. This is really about being comfortable in the uncomfortable. This sort of leads into the second theme of really highlighting our inner perfectionist, because we don't, and spirit don't, and they don't want for you to expect perfection. And perfection is something that we create. It's an illusion in some way. And yes, there is perfection in the imperfection, and that would be the lens that I would rather you take on with all of this. That if you are to be in a position, or you are in a position where your self-doubt or your expectations of yourself are from the lens of having these expectations of perfection, then things are going to get ugly really quick. The ugliness is also really beautiful, in the same sense that today, like, I've had a rash on my face really badly the last couple of days. Irritation, frustration, fear of being seen. This is all talking to me, right? And so with this, I can hide and not come on and do the video. I didn't put makeup on my skin because I was like, you know what, it's okay, just show up as you are. This is what this energy is all about. And yes, going and doing the emotional work, or experiencing the emotions that come up with this, and getting really real with myself about where I'm at and where I have work to do, it's okay. From this place of, I don't expect perfection, I just expect, I don't expect perfection, and I trust that what comes up in moment to moment when I'm inside of my body in this present moment now is perfection. And so you're going to see things this month that you haven't seen for a while, or that you get to see them from a different perspective. It's like the bird's eye view. The eagle comes in, to have a look at this from a higher consciousness. And what this will do is expand your consciousness, your awareness, so as that when you are in experiences where you go to create or react to your reality or your external world, or to show up as you are, is that this is not then fed back as a loop that creates more of the destructive cycle, which is more about hiding away and not living out your fullest dream and your fullest potential because of the insecurities that have prevented you from doing so in the first place. And it's funny because they really bring this to the outer shell. So if you've experienced things like eating disorders or discomfort with your physical body, or it's like the physical body piece, these sorts of things can feel a little bit louder right now. Self-consciousness, and the invitation is to really love yourself really fully, deeply, and that is an ongoing process. Don't expect you to snap your fingers and be there straight away. We are learning to love ourselves fully in the remembering, but also in the forgiving, and in removing the expectations of perfection. Pull back from places that are not supporting you and your brighter self. So if you're finding yourself scrolling through social media and it's making you feel really bad because you're in comparisonitis mode, step away. If you are spending time with friends or family members that are throwing fuel to your fire of self-doubt, then step away for a moment. It's about going inside, and going inside to observe what comes up and then affirm otherwise, to affirm through a voice that is so wise and so loving and so kind that you accept yourself exactly as you are in this moment. The inner perfectionist is something that I'd love to destroy. And destruction is this energy that is not, I don't want this to be destroy or destruction. I actually want this to kind of transmute into a space where that energy can be utilized for good, that it is not harmful to yourself or to others, that it is not harmful to yourself in your journey and your evolution. So it's a force field that, when in balanced, can really help you see the lens of your, I want to say, like, your soul's purpose as well. So what you have already journeyed in this life, and the insecurities that may arise in your journey, are all parts of your superpower to transmute and then be able to share with others. So we're not necessarily looking at the how we share this with others yet. We're just looking at how we could really bring this to balance in your own life. So this can look like the saboteur raising its head. It can look like emotional exhaustion, just a feeling almost like you're giving up on yourself. And I really want to say, please don't, because this is like the last layers of, and I see this towards the end of July, it's like the ocean becomes really still. There's a really beautiful time for contemplation and integration, and at that point the power is being cultivated back in your body to really start to take some action into the space of August. So this is slower you can go, the better right now. That's with voice, that's with sleep, that's with food, that's with the mind. Anything that slows all of this down, anything that allows for you to really deeply feel, is going to benefit you in the long run, even if it doesn't initially feel like this instantaneous reward. And we're quite addicted to that as human beings. We do something and we're like, oh, I want the reward to show up right now. Let go of that expectation. So reflect on this. You know, where is my inner perfectionist holding me back? Beautiful. I want to move into desire, because desire is something that I am feeling as like a, you know, it's desire, self-pleasure, pleasure, sensuality, intimacy in regards to the self right now. How is this being cultivated, or how is this allowed inside of your psyche and your being to help you navigate the direction in which you're moving? So this is not addiction to pleasure. This is really about allowing yourself to feel the pleasure, even inside of the discomfort, to feel desire as a birthright to help you navigate towards things that you were inspired by, to where you want to contribute, to where you want to better take care of yourself. And it's an interesting thing, this, and I don't want to call it a thing, this energy of you and your sexual power, your potency. It is so powerful. It can literally move mountains. It is available, and we are taught to be separate from that. And so in going in and really connecting with your physical body, your sensuality, your pleasure, you can transform some of these energies of stagnancy, of stuckness, of not good enoughness, in adorning yourself and bringing pleasure into your physical body as a means of bringing some of this energy or life force energy awake and inside of you to really fuel your passion for living, for life. And sexual energy is not just something that is goal orientated, right? For this piece that's all the way over here, it's a bit of a dance with yourself. It's a getting to know yourself. It's a staying inside of the physical body. It's a moving from the mind and into all of the cells of your body and really experiencing the pleasures of humanness. And this brings in some of your senses as well. So how can you stimulate beautiful smells, beautiful tastes, beautiful touch, beautiful sounds inside of your environment to really stimulate the pleasure of being human? And we forget this humanness aspect a bit, you know, when we're on this spiritual journey. It's almost like we have there's this strange programming around just like getting out of here and doing it fast and merging with the cosmos. And really we're bringing the cosmos into this space, and we are transforming inside of the human body, and there is no fast track to that experience. So if the emotions are getting to the point where you've been inside of your I want to say like your observation mode, and it's like, okay, I'm listening, but like that's enough for this moment, it might be then that you move into a practice where you actually go, okay, now I'm going to move some, you know, sensual energy around my body. I'm going to activate this piece, and I really want to feel into the cells of my body and my being and feel my power that is connected to my pleasure, and allow this to show me what it is that I truly desire. So I feel like we're getting like they show me like windows, like a very small window. It's not a huge expanded one, but there's like a little window that we can see through that gives us a little bit more information and insight into what it is that we really do desire. So what is it that you desire? But can you map that out from your physical body? And this not necessarily even, this is not fantasy inside of the mind. This is conversation with the cells of your body and your being. And so this may be work with your yoni. It may be, you know, work around, I want to say like the base, like the anus. It's like butt cheeks, it's thighs, it's all the way down to your feet. It's all these places, but these specific centers are sort of where, and in and around our sacral, these lower chakras are where we have a lot of, I want to say where some of these emotions are kind of blocking or preventing. When we doubt ourselves, we kind of get stuck in the head, and the solar plexus is switched off, and then everything below that sort of struggles to move. So moving the energy from the base all the way to the crown and up and down, and creating this beautiful highway through your body so the communication is really open. If you don't know what it is that you desire, then now is your time to go into that space and have that conversation with your inner being. Intuition is super loud this month. And I know that we have layers of this, and I kind of keep saying it, but it is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And those who are avoiding going internally into their body and having conversations with themselves, with the self, or to sit and listen to the guidance that's inside, are going to be shook from the outside. It starts to feel really overwhelming, and you can see that have sort of happened in the last couple of months. I think there's going to be a trickle-on effect of that, and like not listening. That's when we sprain an ankle, or you know, you get knocked down with a headache and you have to lay down, and it's like you're forced to sit with yourself. So versus being forced to sit with yourself and go inward, perhaps it's time, if you're not already, to bring in this practice of inward listening, to just listen, to bring your awareness, your spirit, your consciousness into your physical body and stay committed to staying. And so with the intuition getting louder, it also offers this beautiful piece of like support, and it our intuition guides us towards our soul and our soul's path. And so when we're choosing to stay, we can have emotional layers that appear inside of the body, right? When we're like, okay, I want to be here, but then all this stuff that makes it feel too uncomfortable to stay in, all the little funny little insecurities and our self-conscious mannerisms, they get really loud when we first come in. So we've got to sit with them, bring light to them, neutralize them until they're not there anymore, and then all of a sudden we're in a little bit deeper. And the intuition speaks from internally inside of the body. It is your guidance system. So it's here to support you, to protect you. You are protected when you're inside of your body, but it takes time. And so bringing in patience and compassion and an element of pleasure into this, what can feel uncomfortable, is enough to sort of start to bring some balance in. It's very easy to feel off balance this month. So working with balance, almost imagining yourself like a set of scales, you know. Where am I right now? And if you feel yourself like this, what is it? Ask your body, what is it I need to kind of come back into alignment here, back into center? And your body will tell you. So give yourself that permission. Ask the questions that you feel like you need to ask, or just sit in that space where you can really open up to listen to that beautiful guidance that is inside of you. The lions keep coming past my vision, and I love to see the lions. I've seen them as, they have always protected my homes. I see them energetically walking around my perimeter, and I also feel them as this inner strength. They have a beautiful sense of like pride, right, of who you are, even in your absolute wildness and even in the ugliness and the imperfectness. I really, really want for this to be grasped, and through sex, through pleasure, through this relationship with your body and the internals of your inner desire. There is so much information and data in there to get to know yourself and really honor yourself. Even if it's like, oh, that's not a priority, I would ask you, why is that not a priority for your life? This can stem if you're in intimate relationships with other people. You can see new paths opening up for sexual intimacy, and I want to say like communication with one another. It feels like there's opportunity to go down pathways of discovery with one another you haven't ventured before. So take your time with that, and this voice piece comes into there. So really saying out aloud what it is that you would love to, perhaps it's what you would like to receive, what it is that you desire, to express your gratitude, to express. Maybe it's just sounding out more, but it feels like there's like I want to say like things are being tweaked, almost like a dial in regards to intimacy, even if that's just self-pleasure with yourself. Perhaps it's about bringing in new tools into that practice, or being in a different environment, or, it's sort of like bring a little bit of curiosity in there, because this feels like the potency or the medicine that is required to bring in some of the dis-ease and mental imbalances and the struggles that we have as far as being inside of the human body. This part does not need to be forgotten. It's not an unspiritual lens. A lot of this is still hidden in the subconscious, and the only way to go in there and wake this part up is to bring light into that space. And the light is your awareness, it's your consciousness, it's your presence, without needing this expectation of perfection. So bugger all of that. I really do want to say that. And it leads to this inner power inside of your body. Like it really does, to really know that you can move energy around your body, and that it can be really bloody pleasurable, even if you have been experiencing anger and rage and sadness and grief. It's all welcome, and it's all okay. And there is medicine in supporting your physical body to experience the subtle sensations of sensuality, actually. And that feels like the antidote for the overwhelm right now. That could be listening to poetry for you. So like it could be reading some kind of erotic novel. I don't know, I've not read an erotic novel before, but it's something I'd be open to for sure, even if it's just to drop me into that place. Dance, movement, erotica, it's just a beautiful place to go to right now in this lovely energy that is very internal. It's around your sanctuary. It's not about being around heaps of people. It's about your inner workings and your inner life, and how you best take care of yourself. What are the things that you want to say to yourself? And we're not going through that little window that we spoke about just yet. It's almost just a peek into the future. And so allowing some of those imperfect parts of you to come through, and being very mindful of how you're speaking to yourself, is really where we have this opportunity to transform your own inner matrix and stop these patterns of sabotage that cycle you back into, I want to say loop you back into a place where you feel like you can't escape this level of evolution in which you're living in, because there is breakthrough that can be happening sort of towards the end of this month. Intuition, clairvoyance as well. Clairvoyance, like the veils, it is. I say this every month, it's just getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and it feels really, really thin right now. So that means susceptible to other people's energies as well, and it does feel like a very inward place. So draw back from environments where there's lots of people if you can at the moment. But also be aware that what you're picking up on might not be all of yours. There is a lot of, like I see, bloodlines coming through at the moment, work that's being done right through from the ancestral plane. It's a lot to do with the mother, the feminine energy. There are threads here that maybe we don't logically need to understand, but it really does feel like we can participate in viewing some of this to have absolute clarity as to whether that is yours or not, or whether this is something that needs to be processed through your body, or whether you're taking that on from other people. So there is one way, obviously, just to pull yourself back in from that place, consciously disconnecting from those who you've been in contact with, but also just bearing in mind that some of what you're feeling and experiencing may be from a completely different life. It might be a layer of, of part of you coming back into your body. It can be what the earth is purging, and it can also be cosmic. When we've had these periods of purges, and I feel like the purges happened, the big sort of penetrative bleh that happened, and now we have this sort of motion, this emotion thing happening. And out the other side of that is like we do have this experience of stillness. And in the stillness is where we get prepared. We kind of do this integration thing. Your power is going to be back online, and you're going to have absolute precision in what direction in which you're going in. I see people in different work environments getting ready to pack up and leave their jobs coming into next year. I feel like there has been massive paradigm shifts in what people can tolerate now. So it's like, I can't live my life doing a 9 to 5 anymore. So what are my options? And really having a look at your options as though your body and its language inside of you is pointing you in a direction that is for you. So life is happening for me. Life is happening for me. Life is happening for me. These are all really beautiful things in which we can practice every day. I do see elements where we've had like a bit of a financial shift. There were upgrades for some, and now I feel like there's going to be a bit of insight into that. So having a look at where your financial pieces, or where the stability there, not just finances as means of abundance, but where abundance is for you and feels like you're still struggling with it. Is there a missing piece there? And I feel like if there is, and that is something that's feeling out of ease, they're kind of saying like almost feeling like a dis-ease where it's manifesting and it's affecting your physical body, then work at this from a mental level, because it's more to do with the programming. That can be stuff that you've taken in through these bloodlines, and it can also be stuff that you've picked up from your environment almost as conditioning. So this is one vibration that I feel, especially in the spiritual world, you do not need to be poor in order to be going on this journey. And the reason in which your body starts to feel constricted or tight or closed over in particular environments is because your body may not be, may not be meant to be in that environment. And so looking more instead, what is it that I would desire? What does my perfect life look like? My perfect day? How many hours a week do I want to be of service? And how much rest do you really need? It's sort of like getting really realistic with you as an individual being, not compared to everybody else or what it is that you've been taught. How do you really want to be living? And so look at this emotional piece like a bit of a collection of data, not from your mind necessarily, but an observation of data through your physical body. We've got to be in this month. We have to be. And so if this element of grounding is something that you're really struggling with, then that is your first and foremost. There are lots of different mechanisms in which we can support the physical body to get grounded. In saying that, some of these more intense emotions that collectively we sort of saw a big burst of last week, especially around the abortion piece, it baffles me. But these elements of, we can see really how much work we have to do. But this rage and this anger and this sadness and disgust of, I want to say, the systems in which are in place, we will transmute this energy, and we will do that connected from our physical bodies, connected to our pleasure, connected to our desire, where we utilize this energy for progress forward and where things need to change. And there are going to be new ways of doing things that are popping up all over the place, because this is going to fuel passion, and it will. And so not a destructive energy where you are in reaction mode, check yourself with that, but really like, what does this show you inside of yourself? Where do you want to make a difference? Not just for yourself as an individual human being, but the ripple effect that that can have on humanity. So we are downloading as well at the moment, and I'm jumping quite quickly today, but this was attempt 2. The video didn't actually record the audio the first time I did this. But anyway, we're kind of moving through the energy quite quickly. It's the downloads that are coming in feel very continuous at the moment. So sometimes when I felt myself in a period where I'm in kind of overwhelm, I have heard this, like my guide saying like, okay, you felt that part. Now I want you to focus on the good stuff that's coming in. Good, bad, sure, but the light that's coming in, focus on the beauty that's coming in. And I see all this like beautiful sparkly stuff, you know, it's like it really is coming into the body and the being. And there's an integration process whenever we bring in more light. And it can be uncomfortable, and it can bring up those bits inside of the body that are resisting the parts of the light that want to come through. This is, the ego can get in the way, and it's all okay. It's okay to take this at the pace that feels right and true for you. But when we are bringing in, after such periods of purge and settlement, when we start to bring in this light that's coming in to shift the paradigm, to transform and expand consciousness, and to really move into a place where, you know, more of you is online, is that the nervous system can ask for more help. And so if there are things that are happening in your body that are causing more stress for your body that can be tweaked or turned down right now, please do. And that might be that you're spending too much time scrolling on your phone. It might be that you're drinking 4 coffees and your body only wants 1. It might be that you actually need things like adaptogens. And I just introduced ashwagandha into my body to have once in the morning. And oh my gosh, it's like a dream come true. Calmness meditations, anything that brings you into this space where you're feeling much more receptive, where that buzz that can feel way too intense kind of comes into a space where it finds rhythm through your body. So it might mean that you need a something or a herb, work with the herbs, nature, to bring an element into your body that supports your nervous system more when this light's coming in, to prevent more or greater resistance. We can sort of be more receptive to this, but also external stresses. Just be mindful of that. That can be getting caught up in other people's, I want to say, bubbles of what can feel almost like chaos. And so having that recognition that people need to be able to process their own experiences, unless they directly come to you and say, I would really love your support. Be mindful where you feel your own psyche traveling out of your body to go and fix and help other. So this is almost like an ego program. And part of our evolutionary nature is to observe that part, to keep your spirit inside of your body. It's up to you then, if someone contacts you directly and says, I really need to chat, do you have the time and space? They're respecting you and your boundary, and you have an opportunity to say yes or no in that space. So it's almost, I do feel like boundaries are going to be a part of this month as well, in regards to relating with other people and being kind enough to yourself and to others to say no when you really mean no, and following through with your yes when it does feel like a yes. But let this come from down here, not necessarily up here. And just be mindful where you feel yourself getting caught in those loops, like the drama loops. And some people can be quite connected to, and no judgment here, but there's can be a tendency to connect to other people's drama in order to avoid the feeling and the sensation inside of your own body. So check in those patterns and programs as far as, where am I in avoidance mode? Am I working 10 hours a day because I don't want to give myself an hour to stop and settle into my being and feel what it is that's asking to be felt? People that are in that cycle still, that are in avoidant mode, will be forced to stop. I really do feel that, to really listen in, because we're all doing this together. We really, really are. Anything that I've missed? The owls keep popping in. Something around clairvoyance. That's kind of cool. So they're just showing me like the physical body, journeying, getting a really good, using your imagination, your visualization to imagine the internals of your body. So your bones, your muscles, your toes, your chakra system in that space as well. And just journey through your system, journey your spirit, your awareness through your system like a body scan. But if you can work with the visualization of this, you will start to notice where there are patches that feel really bright and light, and then there are patches that might feel like darker clouds where your consciousness, you know, it sort of feels more like it's in the shadows. And even just in spending time in that space, so say you get to your knees and it feels like all cloudy and dark, you can go into that space and just like start to turn on the light, circle yourself around there, your spirit, your awareness into that place, and see if you can start to flow energy through your body. So take it all the way down to your feet and back up your legs and circulate it around your hips. And it's almost like starting to navigate your body so as that you can feel the inner conversation of your being, and your sight works to help back you up in that. Because when you see this as glowing and light and it's easy to flow through the whole thing, you most likely are. And when you see these little blocks or pieces that are like pockets of information that are of a more denser vibration, is that we can be aware of them, but we can also start to bring some energy into those places. And so using your visualization just helps you feel, it gives you truth for starters, but also can help you feel more connected to the practice versus trying to do that directly just from your mind. I'm just trying to reflect as to whether that was something we've already said. Have we? Yes. So the cognience and the sentience piece is going to be really loud. Clothing as well is something that, you know, we've talked about before, but I just love this right now. If you are feeling like you want to get into your pleasure zone, your erotic nature, you would like to be tuning in with this part of your being, but you are dressed in clothing that makes you feel frumpy and sad and like you just want to climb into bed, then change things around. Use your superpowers or your alchemy, your environment, props and pieces, and these other lovely things that really help you feel like you can step into your sensuality and your sexuality in that place. That can also go into the different roles or the energy. It's like dressing with intent. It has a really big ripple effect. Pan's popping in. I love him for the herbs. He's such a beautiful being. I really do feel like we're going to be going really deep into this. I think there's going to be a lot of discussion about this over the next month. Our plant allies, I feel like they are like popping through the matrix and getting through to us as we become more sensitive to as like different uses for plants and herbs and spices and nature. You know, there is medicine in nature. It cures for everything that we can possibly need. Also, those elements of support. It's also something that I reflected upon a lot last week through this abortion piece. I've taken herbs myself to bring on a period. Cinnamon and high doses of vitamin C and mugwort tea when I've known that I have conceived and I haven't been in a position to want to have a baby at that point in time. I know it seems like a kind of a funny subject, but I feel like there is going to be conversation around that, especially inside of the spiritual community, but more vastly. I feel like naturopaths, acupuncturists, Chinese herbs, all these ancient health and wellness avenues that we've used for such a huge amount of time, including astrology and all these other pieces that come in as a support mechanism to really guide but also support the body and being through its journey, are going to get louder and louder and louder. And so notice what herbs and things you feel called to. Tea is something that's really beautiful for the body right now, whether it's for calming, for healing. Your intuitive body actually knows. So anything that kind of tunes you into your allies from the earth, the plants, is definitely feels like there's a big need for that and a bit of a calling for that right now. But also to know that there is often a way through with those pieces that isn't talked about in the mainstream media. Anything else that we need to discuss? So all of this energy gets us into a place where I feel like week 4 of July, there's a real sort of stopping still. We saw that water kind of come to, I want to say, like stillness, and the stillness being this really beautiful place where we have space to integrate, where the power is going to be like right there at the tip of your fingers, not big explosive power, but like, oh, okay, I really feel like I know who I am right now. And I also know how to navigate and weave through life connected to my body and my being. I know what it is that I desire, which direction I'm moving in. I'm connected to my intuition. I'm listening to that guidance. It takes me in the direction of my soul's divine evolution. It's like, okay, let's get comfortable at home inside of the physical body. And there is such huge opportunity to really up level this relationship to yourself, build on your self-esteem, your self-respect, your self-love this month. But the only way is through. Anything else that I've missed? I don't think so. Like the phoenix rising, I like that. And this feels like this is our opportunity towards the end of the month. It really does. It really, really does. All right, guys. I created a new program on you can find on my LinkedIn, on my Instagram page. My Instagram page is listed below. I might put the link for the course there as well. It's all about getting inside of your body, bringing in the protection that's needed, learning to, it's sort of like really bringing through the wisdom as to why the intuition is important and how you can begin to work with this. So I love to see the intuition as a skill set and the spiritual gift, something that sort of blossoms from that. So that's where your uniqueness kind of starts to stem in. But your intuition is your birthright, and this course is really set up to give you the structure and the foundation to work with this on a daily basis and to really build and cultivate this relationship. So you can do this in two payments, split payments, or just a one-off payment. It's basically emailed to you, so it's in your inbox, and it's a self-paced course, 4 videos broken up, lots of information, journaling prompts, all these beautiful things. And for something that's quite inward right now, it would be a really beautiful time to go in and discover those parts of yourself. And their practices and insight information that I practice every single day and have done. And I guess brought together through a lot of trial and error, almost a decade ago, and there's still the fruits of it's like the real fruit, juicy stuff that I'm just passionate about sharing. I really want what's best for you. I want you to be who you are, and I want you to be okay in your imperfection as well, because that really, really is, that is the perfection, you as you are. Anyway, I love you. Thank you for tuning in. This was take 2 today, so I'm just trusting that what it was that came through the second time was more true. Interesting how these things all happen. It's all happening for us. I'm sending you so much love from Hobart, Tasmania, and I will see you for August next month. Bye.